The Book of Amos, Chapter 1, God's Warning to the Nations. Amos, a shepherd from a small town, receives a message from God. God speaks like a roaring lion, angry at the neighboring nations around Israel for their wrongdoings. God lists their sins. Damascus is cruel. Gaza captures people as slaves. Tyre breaks promises. Edom fights with their relatives. Ammon is violent, and Moab shows no respect. God says each will face punishment like fire and destruction because of their evil actions. Chapter 2, God's Judgment on Judah and Israel. God's attention turns to his own people, Judah and Israel. Judah has ignored God's laws and followed lies, so God says he will send fire to destroy their cities. Israel's sins are even worse. They cheat the poor, ignore justice, and live immorally. God reminds them of how he saved them from Egypt, but they have forgotten his kindness. Now, God's judgment is coming, and no one will escape. Chapter 3, Israel, listen up. Amos tells Israel that God is not happy with them. They were chosen to be special, but they have failed. Just like when a lion roars and everyone trembles, God is roaring his warning. God will punish them because their rich people are violent and greedy. They feel safe in their fancy homes, but God will destroy these places and take away their riches. Chapter 4, Ignoring God's Warnings. God reminds Israel that he tried to get their attention many times, with hunger, drought, diseases, and wars. But after every warning, they still didn't return to him. God says, get ready to meet your God. He is powerful and knows everything. They can't keep ignoring him. Chapter 5, Seek God and Live. Amos sings a sad song for Israel, saying they have fallen and won't get up unless they turn back to God. He pleads with them, seek God and live. They should stop going to their fake places of worship and do what is right. God doesn't care about their empty prayers and rituals. He wants them to be just and fair. God says, let justice flow like water. Chapter 6, Warnings for the Comfortable. Amos warns those who live in luxury and don't care about what's happening around them. They lie on fancy beds, eat the best food, drink lots of wine, and feel secure. But God warns them that they will be the first to go into exile when judgment comes. They won't be comfortable for long. Chapter 7, Visions of What's Coming. God gives Amos 3 visions. In the first, locusts eat all the crops, but Amos prays, and God stops them. In the second, a fire consumes everything, but Amos prays again, and God stops it. In the third vision, God uses a plumb line, like a tool to measure if a wall is straight. He shows Amos that Israel is not straight with him anymore, and this time, God's judgment will not be stopped. When a priest named Amaziah tries to make Amos leave, Amos says he's just a shepherd called by God to speak the truth. He warns that Israel will be taken away as captives. Chapter 8, The End is Near. God shows Amos a basket of ripe fruit, meaning Israel is ready for judgment. Songs of joy will turn into cries of sorrow. People will look everywhere for God's words and guidance, but it will be too late. They won't find it. Chapter 9, Hope. After the judgment, God stands by the altar and commands destruction on Israel. No one can escape from him, but even though he will destroy the sinful kingdom, he promises not to destroy everyone. The good will be saved like good grains separated from the bad. At the end, there is a message of hope. God will rebuild the fallen house of Israel. The people will come back, rebuild their cities, plant their fields, and live in peace. They will never be uprooted again if they turn back to God.